Remember Rania Rao, the actress who was caught red-handed smuggling gold, bought 14 kilos of gold at the Bengaluru airport? She's behind bars right now. But the Enforcement Directorate's investigation has set the cat among the pigeons in Karnataka, and here's why. There's now a link between Rania Rao and Karnataka Home Minister Dr. G. Parameshwara. The Enforcement Directorate, while probing the money laundering angle of this case, has found links to G. Parameshwara. How? So the EDs conducted raids at a medical college reportedly associated with the veteran Congress leader, with the minister, as part of its ongoing investigation into this high-profile smuggling case. The EDs raided a medical college. This is in Tumakuru, close to Bangalore. And Parameshwara is listed as the chairman of this medical college. This is the Sri Siddhartha Institute of Medical Sciences and Research Center. During the investigation, the Enforcement Directorate essentially found a money trail between Rania Rao and the medical college linked to Parameshwara. The ED was last known going through the institution's financial records, and they conducted a raid this morning as well. And this has thrown up so many questions, but the biggest one, did Rania actually enjoy some political patronage? We're not jumping to any conclusions here on India Today, but it's important to question how Rania actually smuggled gold for months together and was never nabbed. Was she being shielded by political parties for some kickbacks from the smuggled gold? The investigation, of course, will throw up more details, but for now, here's a look at the political reactions coming in on this big development in the ED investigation of an alleged G. Parameshwara link to this entire smuggling scandal.
I'm sure that in no way my Home Minister is involved with any of such case. He's a very decent, simple man. I think he might have some of them come and meet, common man come and meet and go. I think no way Parameshwara is involved in such type of case.
Sir, the Enforcement Directorate is now carrying out raids at medical institutions connected with Home Minister Dr. G. Parameshwar. What do you make of this?
See, we all know how ED and IT function. We all know how they target anyone who is either in opposition parties, especially Congress, or any institution which is seemingly not in favor with the central government or BJP. And of course, Dr. G. Parameshwar said this is pure targeting, and how to harass Congress leaders, and how to target them and how to trouble them. This is our political agenda of the Modi government, and misuse of official machinery for their political gains. And this is anti-democratic, it's against the constitution, and it is sad that our country is being ruled by someone who thinks that nobody should even talk negatively about him or his people. They can talk anything they want. Till today, that Madhya Pradesh minister has not been forced to resign. Look at the attitude of this government. They think that they are above the law. Mr. Modi thinks he is above the law, and anyone who is against him, they should be, unjustly vilified, bullied using government machinery.
The Enforcement Directorate is investigating the Rania gold smuggling case from the last 2-3 months. They must have found credible evidence to raid the premises of G. Parameshwar owned hospital. It's an high-profile Home Minister in Karnataka. Without a credible evidence, ED cannot take any action arbitrarily. I only wait for the outcome of the raid. And if there is any connection between the Rania Rao gold smuggling case and Parameshwar, I feel he should step down as the Home Minister.
How do you see the ED raids happening against Home Minister Parameshwar's institutions?
I welcome because Rania Rao was looted more gold. So many people in Karnataka, not only Parameshwar, many people is there. They have to give to very detail to the public of Karnataka. That's why this right, they have to give the details. Truth. I demand the truth.
And if you notice that you appraise the same issue even during the assembly session, sir, stating that there are ministers, powerful politicians behind this particular gold smuggling racket. Now, do you think that has come true?
100%, not Parameshwar. Many people is there. The ED is investigation. I welcome this. But so many crores of money from Dubai or other countries into Bangalore. This is become the hub. When Congress come, this hub, gold smuggling become the hub. So the ED's investigation, I demand proper investigation.
Okay, let me bring in on this broadcast Munish Pandey and Sagaraj. Sagaraj is joining us live from Bengaluru. Munish Pandey tracks the agencies for us. So I'd like to begin with Munish first on the ED investigation. Munish, what led to the Enforcement Directorate raiding this particular medical college? Has there been any statement from the ED that directly links G. Parameshwara to this entire case?
Well, Akshita, this was very surprising for everyone who has covered this gold smuggling case, because so far there was connection between certain policemen and Rania Rao. But as far as ED investigation is concerned, remember, it is a money laundering case. There was a suspicion that there might be some political links, but the way it has been uncovered by the Enforcement Directorate, I spoke to several ED officials who are part of the investigation team, and what we have been given to understand is that during the investigation, when they were going through the transaction details of Rania Rao, they got to know that there are several transactions made from one hospital, and this hospital is connected to Home Minister G. Parameshwara. Now, as far as the investigation is concerned, not only this amount of transactions, several transactions between the hospital and Rania Rao, which are very suspicious in nature, but also the ED claims that they have found some amount of evidence as far as a direct connection between Rania Rao and Home Minister is concerned. And that is why we have been given to understand is that Home Minister himself is under scanner of Enforcement Directorate. There is a high possibility that in coming days he might be summoned by the Enforcement Directorate based on the evidence collected by the ED, and his questioning may take place.
That's big if that happens. We'll see if the ED issues that summon. But there is a big possibility, Munish tells us, of G. Parameshwara also being brought into the investigation fold right now. Sagai, run us through really how the Congress has reacted. You know, we've played out some of those reactions where they're all claiming political witch hunt, but pin drop silence so far from G. Parameshwara.
Absolutely, he has not given any kind of statement. He didn't even step out of his house. We were waiting outside his house for a statement, but he didn't make any kind of media statement. Definitely, it will be a setback for him, because he was one of those front runners. If at all, if there is a change of guard in the state of Karnataka, and he himself claimed that he is one of the senior Dalit leaders, and if at all the Congress is looking for a Dalit leader, if there are any changes after Siddaramaiah, definitely he was one of those persons who was one front runner for Chief Minister post along with D.K. Shivkumar. And this case, especially Enforcement Directorate case in connection with gold smuggling, if at all, if he is involved after the investigation or after the search operation, if the Enforcement Directorate gives any kind of statement, definitely it will be a major setback for him politically, because he was eyeing the post of Chief Minister.
All right, we'll track the latest that comes in on this, Sagai and Munish. For the moment, thanks very much for joining us with those details. This has emerged, of course, as a huge twist in this entire case. But is it really surprising, keeping in mind that Rania was smuggling gold for so many months and she got away with it for so long? It did lead to questions about whether she had some sort of political shield. But let's recap for you all the details of the allegations against Rania Rao. Just to jog your memories, remember Rania was caught with over 14 kilos of gold strapped onto her body in the Bengaluru airport. This was on March 3rd. And thereafter, a massive gold smuggling racket was exposed. The actress, her associates were also nabbed one after another. And while she secured bail yesterday, at this point she still remains behind bars, just looking at the unprecedented charges against her. Let's run you through the details that have emerged so far with the investigation. About the other names also involved, there was Tarun Raju, known to be an aide of Rania Rao, essentially handled all the Hawala transactions. So he is someone who is the son of a massive hotel owner in Bengaluru. Now, he allegedly transferred money to Dubai, and so he was involved in what to do with the proceeds, etc., which means he is being investigated also by the Enforcement Directorate. Rania Rao was a transporter. She'd go several times, travel from Bengaluru to Dubai. From Dubai, she'd bring, in fact, gold. She'll buy it with hawala money that was sent by Tarun Raju and then bring it back. She'll smuggle that gold back to India and reportedly had a very clear modus operandi. Every single time she'd wear the same jacket, she'd hook on these gold bars and walk right out of the airport. After this, what happens? The money, the kickbacks that she got from smuggling all of that gold, it would be transferred directly to Rania's accounts. Now, here's the question mark. What happens post that? Where does this money go? It was sent to unidentified accounts, and that's what the ED is looking into. Where did this money go? Hawala transactions were clearly involved, and clearly at this point there's a charge of money laundering. But these unidentified accounts is what they're trying to figure. And so a name of a medical college linked to G. Parameshwara has emerged. It's not the first time there's been a political link per se. Let's put out the image for you from Rania Rao's wedding. Remember this one? It triggered a political storm because this was from Rania's wedding in which Chief Minister Siddaramaiah was attending, and right next to the Chief Minister is Home Minister G. Parameshwara. Seen there. At this point, remember the allegations against him. So clearly they were acquaintances. He knew the family because remember Rania, her stepdad is a former DGP. So there's been a lot of talks, of course, about the Karnataka police helping her. Now direct political links are also emerging. And these pictures, combined with what's happened now with the ED investigation, all of this has led to questions on whether Rania enjoyed some political protection. Several unsubstantiated pieces of information regarding her links with politicians, current and former ministers, numbers being on her phone, all of this had been reported. But this now is the first time that there's a clear link established to a Neta. And as our reporters have been telling us, there is a possibility that G. Parameshwara could also be summoned by the Enforcement Directorate in this particular case, which means that it's huge trouble for the Siddaramaiah government and for this veteran Congress leader, for G. Parameshwara. This is the National Herald case that we're talking about. Trouble mounting for the Gandhis, because remember that you're going to be seeing a lot of legal movement in this case. The Enforcement Directorate has reportedly informed a Delhi court that Congress MPs Rahul Gandhi and Sonia Gandhi, A1, A2 in these cases, enjoyed around 142 crores in proceeds of crime. The central agency further noted that the Gandhis not only committed money laundering when they acquired the proceeds of crime, but also by continuing to hold the proceeds. So they had it with them and they didn't give it up. The Enforcement Directorate has also informed the Delhi court that by paying 50 lakhs to Associated Journals Limited, Young Indian attained a 90 crore loan. So clearly those numbers just don't add up. According to sources, the Enforcement Directorate believes that Rahul and Sonia Gandhi converted public money for personal use by using Young Indian. AJL, Associated Journals Limited, also showed a bogus rent of 38 crores in the year 2017-2018. And even the donations showed by Young Indian were not genuine. So multiple loopholes that have emerged. And according to the Enforcement Directorate, it all points back to the Gandhis, to Rahul Gandhi and Sonia Gandhi, who've been named as accused in the ED charge sheet in the National Herald case.
The National Herald case has been a very peculiar case in the entire Indian history. Number one, it started in October 2013 by a PIL filed in Delhi High Court, much before Modi government came into power. Second, this is the only case in which Sri Rahul Gandhi ji and Srimati Sonia Gandhi ji has to take the bail. In the recent findings of ED, they have mentioned there is around 142 crore rupees related to proceeds of crime. अब प्रोसीड ऑफ क्राइम से अगर पैसा आया है तो यूज किसने किया है, तो इसके बारे में जो इंडिकेशन दिया गया है कि यह सिर्फ प्रॉपर्टी ऑब्टेन करने के लिए नहीं बल्कि अदर रिलेटेड चीजों के लिए भी प्रयोग किया गया है।
आज कोर्ट के अंदर एनफोर्समेंट डायरेक्टरेट ने यह भी एलिज किया कि जो पूरा एक फाइनेंशियल जगलरी की गई है नेशनल हेराल्ड के अंदर और 142 करोड़ रुपए तक का एक स्कैम किया गया एक तरीके से। ये कुछ आप टाइमिंग की तरफ आप
लगातार जब राहुल गांधी कठिन सवाल पूछते हैं इसी तरह से एजेंसियों को सामने कर दिया जाता है, फिर ये एजेंसीज कवर फायर देती हैं सरकार को। ये आज से नहीं हो रहा, 11 साल से हो रहा है, होने दीजिए। अरे जब सेक्शन 25 की कंपनी है जिसमें प्रॉफिट हो ही नहीं सकता, ना कोई तनख्वाह ले सकता है, ना कोई किराया ले सकता है, ना कोई प्रॉफिट ले सकता है, ना कोई डिविडेंड ले सकता है, उसमें क्या जगलरी हो सकती है, जरा बताइए।
Okay, let me bring in Srishti Ojha, legal correspondent, for more details really on what the ED has submitted before Delhi court. Srishti, run us through what the Enforcement Directorate has said, especially against the Gandhis. What evidence do they essentially have against the Gandhis in the National Herald case?
Akshata, the Enforcement Directorate was arguing on the aspect of cognizance of the prosecution complaint that they filed against Sonia Gandhi, Rahul Gandhi and other accused in the National Herald case. Now, one point that they made before a Delhi court today was that Sonia Gandhi and Rahul Gandhi and other accused enjoyed for proceeds of crimes of around 142 crores. Other than this, if we talk about Enforcement Directorate's allegations, we broke it first on India Today, and it's a big India Today exclusive, where we have accessed some of the details of what Enforcement Directorate's big allegations are according to our sources. As per our sources, the ED has claimed that 988 crores of proceeds of crimes existed in hands of the accused in this National Herald case. Not just that, specific allegations have been made against Sonia Gandhi and Rahul Gandhi. ED, as per our sources, has claimed that Sonia Gandhi was involved in, both Sonia Gandhi and Rahul Gandhi were involved in converting public money into personal use by using Young Indian, their company, as an instrument. According to Enforcement Directorate, Sonia Gandhi and Rahul Gandhi have, through this criminal conspiracy, cheated not only the shareholders of AGL but also the donors of AICC. Another big allegation that the Enforcement Directorate has made is that several donations were received by Young Indian which were found to not be genuine according to the ED. So they've basically claimed that bogus donations were made to Young Indian to discharge the income tax demand, which otherwise would have been paid by would have been paid by the Gandhis, considering they had maximum ownership, majority ownership as far as Young Indian is concerned. Not just that, one allegation is also that ED has said that they've tried to pin all the responsibility in this case to a deceased person, also saying that in their statements they have tried to derail the investigation by saying that it was the then treasurer Motilal Vora who was responsible for the administrative and the financial transactions.
So very serious allegations by the Enforcement Directorate, and it sets the stage for what we're going to be seeing in the weeks ahead when you see that legal battle actually playing out in the courts in the National Herald case. Thanks very much, Srishti, for joining us with all of those details. But what exactly is the charge here against the Gandhis in the National Herald case? You hear a lot about Associated Journals Limited, about Young Indian. We kind of pieced all of that together for you, breaking down the bare basics of what exactly the National Herald case is. In fresh trouble for the Gandhis in the National Herald case, the Enforcement Directorate has filed its first charge sheet in the case, naming Sonia Gandhi and Rahul Gandhi. Let's tell you about the charges against the Gandhis and what this case is all about. Sonia Gandhi and Rahul Gandhi face charges of money laundering. This is in a 10-year-old case filed against them by the ED based on a complaint by Subramanian Swamy. It pertains to the sale of the National Herald newspaper to a company owned by the Gandhis. And the ED is currently probing the shareholding pattern, the financial transactions, and the role of party functionaries. So let's begin by telling you about National Herald. The National Herald was a newspaper that was founded by Jawaharlal Nehru along with other freedom fighters back in 1938. It was meant to voice the concerns of the Liberal Brigade in the Indian National Congress. Published by Associated Journals Limited, or AJL, this newspaper became essentially a mouthpiece of the Congress party after independence. But in 2008, the paper closed down with a debt of over 90 crores. Now here's where it gets interesting. The AJL, as I mentioned, is Associated Journals Limited, got a loan of 90 crores from the Congress party. And this was a zero-interest loan repeatedly to revive the National Herald. Enter Young India Limited, a company that was set up in 2010 with Rahul Gandhi as a director. So while Rahul and his mother Sonia Gandhi hold 76% of the company's shares, the remaining 24% are held by Congress leaders Motilal Vora and Oscar Fernandez. So Young India bought National Herald from AGL. And it is this deal that's under the scanner. Why? Well, Young India Limited took over National Herald, which also meant assets worth a whopping 2,000 crore plus. And Young India Limited only curiously paid 50 lakhs to obtain the rights to recover 90.25 crores which AGL owed the Congress party. So essentially, if I were to simplify that, the loan given by Congress had been transferred to a company owned by the Gandhis. Public money converted to personal use. And that's why on 1st November 2012, Subramanian Swamy filed a private complaint in a court in Delhi alleging that both Sonia Gandhi and Rahul Gandhi have committed fraud and land grabbing worth 160 crores, referring to the assets of AGL. He claimed that through this fraud, they'd got the publication rights of the National Herald along with real estate properties in Delhi and parts of Uttar Pradesh.
90 करोड़ रुपए देने के इनको अधिकार नहीं है. अंडर द रूल्स इनकम टैक्स लॉ ये दे नहीं सकते. ये महाभ्रष्टाचार है. यहाँ शेयर होल्डर्स में 80% की देहांत हो चुकी है और कई कंपनीज हैं जो बंद हो गए हैं.
On 7th December 2015, the Delhi High Court ordered Sonia Gandhi, Rahul Gandhi and 5 others to appear in person before the trial court on 9th December, which they ignored. The Gandhis didn't turn up, but a trial court then ordered them to appear in person on 19th December. Rahul and Sonia finally appeared in court and they were granted bail. Years later, in 2022, Rahul Gandhi and Sonia Gandhi were questioned for several days in the case. Rahul Gandhi was questioned for nearly 55 hours by the CBI and the ED over the alleged corruption and financial irregularities involving this newspaper.
100% political vendetta, pure political vendetta coming out of the PM office. This is what this is. This is their way of doing politics. Pure 100% vendetta. Full faith. I have full faith in the legal system of this country.
The ED is now moving forward swiftly with its probe. On April 12th, the ED served notices to take possession of immovable assets worth 661 crores in Delhi, Mumbai and Lucknow. It had attached some of these properties as part of the money laundering probe. With the charge sheet being filed now, it paves the way for a trial against Rahul Gandhi and Sonia Gandhi. And so to add to that, the Enforcement Directorate now claiming 140 crores was used as personal proceeds to Rahul and Sonia Gandhi, essentially for personal expenses. We will be tracking all the latest political reactions to the legal fight that will play out in weeks from now in the National Herald case. Let's get you details of the massive anti-Naxal operation in Chhattisgarh that ended with 27 Naxals being neutralized. And Prime Minister Modi has just also put out a message on social media on this operation, hailing our forces, saying, "I'm proud of our forces for this remarkable success. We're committed to eliminating the menace of Naxalism." Remember that the government and Home Minister Amit Shah has made that vow to ensure India is completely Naxal-free by 2026, by March 2026. And clearly going steady on that promise, you've got our forces actively rooting out and targeting these particular Naxal-infested areas. The number of districts that has right now Naxals dwindling down with each of these operations. But the reason this particular operation is also crucial is because out of the 27 Naxals who've been neutralized is also Baswaraju, who's the #1, the top Naxal commander who had taken over after Ganpati just a few years ago and was calling the shots in this entire movement. He's neutralized too in an operation that lasted for, in fact, over 50 days. Let me take this across to Gaurav Sawant, Sandeep Unitan and Sumi Rajapan, who are joining us on this broadcast. Gaurav, I'll begin with you. Just explain to us why this operation is such a big win for our forces in their larger mission of weeding out all Naxalism out of India.
The top man, the supreme commander, if I may, the general secretary of the CPI Maoists has been neutralized. Basavaraj is perhaps the biggest success story, getting him for the anti-Maoist movement that the security forces have been running. Now remember, Union Home Minister Amit Shah gave a deadline to the counter-Maoist forces that by March 2026, India has to be red terror free. Now, remember, I want to rewind to when Dr. Manmohan Singh had called Maoists the biggest threat to India's internal security, in 2006-8 period. From then now to red terror being reduced to a couple of, maybe 30 odd districts in our country out of all. It's a huge win. Now, Basavraj was involved. He had a reward of over 1 crore on his head. He was involved in that one of the worst massacres of CRPF that took place in our country in Chintalnar in 2010, when 75 CRPF personnel were massacred. 2010, 2013, he was involved in not just in planning but also execution, when the entire or virtually the entire leadership of the Congress party was neutralized in precise military kind of offensives that the Maoists were mounting on our security forces. He was then, somebody who had trained, according to some reports, with the LTTE in ambush, hit, kill and escape tactics. That is what he tried both in Chintalnar and while neutralizing the Congress leadership. Subsequently, the attack in Gadchiroli on the security forces. In one instance, he'd put improvised explosive devices inside the body of the security forces personnel who had been killed, so that when people came to retrieve their bodies or take the bodies back, then the body would explode and people would die. God. So those kind of tactics he would employ, and that person, according to security forces, they've now confirmed Basavraj has also been killed along with 27 others. 31 had been killed recently. It's a huge operation, multi-state operation that's currently underway. More than 2,000, Naxalites have been killed since 2014. More than 2,000 have surrendered. So this virtually is a move towards end game, Akshita.
And it's a big, big development, as Gaurav has highlighted for you. It's also been an extremely challenging operation. Before I bring in Sandeep, I'll just get in an update from the ground from Sumi Rajapan. Sumi, this operation has been going on for over 50 hours, and that tells you really how challenging the entire mission was for our forces involved in weeding out these Naxals, finding them and neutralizing them.
Absolutely. This operation had been ongoing for more than 50 hours, and this time the operation was in fact leak-proof, and which is why it was a major success. It's been more than 50 hours in which the Mard region was particularly surrounded by all of our security forces, and in fact this particular Mard region shares its border with 3 major districts, again worst Naxal affected districts of Sukma, Bijapur and Narayanpur, and which is why this particular Mard region, where the intelligence input had been received by the security forces, without any delay, our security forces moved towards that area. And again, it is the biggest achievement by the DRG, which is again a specialized unit of the Chhattisgarh police. This DRG has been carrying out such high risks operations almost every day in these districts, and which is why this is a major achievement for our forces. And we had seen the tweet of the Prime Minister Narendra Modi himself. He took to social media platform X and he congratulated our forces for this. And apart from that, Union Home Minister also took a pledge, and in fact he has already given a deadline of March 2026 under the Operation Kagar, and this particular operation is moving forward, and we're slowly and stealthily in fact inching towards that particular goal.
Which is good to see that, you're seeing essentially the number of districts where Naxals are active reducing with each of these operations. Sandeep, Gaurav had listed out how this man, this Naxal commander, had orchestrated so many of these attacks on our forces. And what was also particularly challenging is very, very little was known about, Baswaraju, about how he operated, where he was.
Absolutely, Akshita. This is the biggest single day loss for the CPI Maoists since they were created 21 years ago. There have only been 2 commanders of the CPI Maoists since they were formed in 2004 in the jungles of Chhattisgarh. The People's War Group combined with the Maoist Communist Council of Bihar, and they formed the CPI Maoists in 2004, and in 2005, then Prime Minister Manmohan Singh called them the greatest internal security threat to India, and they controlled something like 180 districts in India. It's almost like a fifth of India's districts. They were active in that, and you had something called the Red Corridor. Now, there have only been 2 commanders of the CPI Maoists. The first one was Ganpati, who was there from 2004 to 2018. That's about 14 years. Now, the new commander, Basavaraj, took over in 2018. And where he was different from Ganpati was that he was essentially a military commander. Ganpati was more of an ideologue. He was like a school teacher kind of guy. This guy, Basavaraj, was a military commander. He had been trained, as Gaurav mentioned, by the Liberation Tigers of Tamil Eelam, LTT, in the forests of India way back in 1987. In fact, he was one of the first Maoists to be trained by the LTT to use improvised explosive devices, IEDs. That's how the Maoists got their skills and their training from the LTT. And he went on to use his training in all of the ambushes that Gaurav mentioned, the fact that the Jiram Ghati massacre where the Congress leadership was wiped out, and of course that very significant attack on the CRPF in 2010 where 76 CRPF troopers were massacred. It's the largest single-day loss of life in any insurgency operation since 1947. So this Basavaraj was the man responsible for that. He was the military commander. He was the brains behind the entire organization. And in fact, he had been one of the key commanders who in the last 6 or 7 years had led to a more intense kind of military-focused outlook for the CPI Maoists. And in fact, that was the aim of appointing him in 2018 when the Maoists saw their territories shrinking, the fact that the government forces were closing in on them. That's when they appointed him. But, it's only a matter of time before they find a replacement for him. It's going to be difficult because their ranks are dwindling so rapidly. Basavaraj is almost 70 years old. He's among the last of the old guard of the Maoists like Ganpati and, many others who are all from the districts of Andhra Pradesh, undivided Andhra Pradesh. So finding a replacement for him is going to be very difficult. Someone with the kind of military bent of mind and combat experience, possibly. These are the last days for the CPI Maoist, Akshita, really. As the Home Minister mentioned, 2026 could well be the time when the Government of India pronounces mission accomplished, and that's the end of the road for the CPI Maoists.
Let's definitely hope so. Thanks very much, Sumi. Gaurav, Sandeep, I'll request both of you to stay on with me because there's also a news break that's just coming in on the Prime Minister's visit to Rajasthan tomorrow. Let's cut across to that. And it's confirmed now that Prime Minister Modi will be visiting the Bikaner Airbase tomorrow. Now, remember, this is one of the air bases that Pakistan attempted to hit. And so after the Prime Minister had earlier, in fact, visited other such locations, you now have Prime Minister Modi all set to visit the Bikaner Air Base. Tomorrow, 9:30 in the morning, he will be there in Rajasthan. A clear message that's being sent across essentially to Pakistan post Operation Sindoor and to our forces, with the Prime Minister essentially wanting to personally meet them and say, job well done. This visit of Prime Minister Modi is also considered to be a message after the Jaish headquarters was destroyed in Bahawalpur. That's just 40 kilometers from the border from Bikaner. And that speaks volumes really of why Prime Minister Modi is choosing to be at the Bikaner Airbase. I'll bring in Gaurav and Sandeep on this. Gaurav, explain to us the significance of the Prime Minister visiting the Bikaner Airbase.
So the Prime Minister will give a big shabash to our air warriors. It's a big shabash. He'll pat, our air warriors, our soldiers on their back for a job that's been well done. The fact that Bahawalpur is also the headquarters of Pakistan Army's 31 Corps, and they know if one of the biggest bases of Jaish-e-Mohammed can be targeted with pinpoint precision. The same missile can go maybe another 6 or 8 kilometers and more and take out the 31 Corps headquarters should Pakistan seek to escalate. But that's not all. What's also very significant are Pakistani bases from Rahim Yar Khan, to Bulari in Sindh. Also the Maler cantonment radar and certain other locations. They were so successfully taken down with pinpoint precision. Jacobabad Air Force Base, which at one point of time was a NATO operations base, has some of the best fighters of Pakistan Air Force, including the F-16s, the Mirage 3.5s, and also 3s and 5s, and also the JF-17 Thunders and some J-10Cs. The big message being India can target Pakistan anywhere. 13 bases and radar stations that were targeted was just a trailer. Defense Minister Rajnath Singh has also said, ये तो trailer दिखाया है, picture अभी बाकी, or words to that effect. If I may, the Prime Minister, when he visits all these bases, it's one, to tell them job well done, two, remain alert, because there's still work to be done perhaps. That's what sources say. There's a lot of work that still remains to be done should Pakistan misbehave.
And that's repeatedly been conveyed by the government, by our forces, that Operation Sindoor is ongoing. Thanks very much, Gaurav. I'd also bring in Sandeep for a word on this. Sandeep, messaging, of course, important here. The Prime Minister, after the Adampur Airbase, choosing to visit the Bikaner Airbase. Not just about sending across a message to our forces, but also, importantly, a message to Pakistan, because this reportedly was one of the air bases that Pakistan spoke of damage, spoke of, how they hit it, Sandeep.
Absolutely, Akshita. In fact, Bikaner is just 200 kilometers away from Bahawalpur, which is the headquarters of the Jaish-e-Mohammed which India struck. And of course, Pakistan claimed that they had damaged the base, but the Prime Minister's visit is going to make that clear the air on that. The fact is that he is going to be there exactly like he did a couple of days back in the field with the soldiers and military hardware to show that all's well with our equipment. None of our bases could be hit the way we struck at Pakistan's bases. And of course, as Gaurav was saying, Akshita, the fact is the Prime Minister would commend the valor of the air warriors and of course the Indian Army for having struck so effectively at Pakistan. But also, more importantly, Akshita, is to keep the focus on Operation Sindoor. The fact is that there has been no ceasefire as yet. It's only a pause in hostilities, and the operation still remains underway. It's only a matter of time before India accelerates the tempo. If there is a provocation from Pakistan, of course, the Prime Minister visiting to convey the fact that ops are still on, stay alert, stay prepared. We never know what the enemy could be up to. So big messaging there. And of course, the larger message, as India has been trying to convey over the last couple of days, through our visits of our politicians abroad, delegations going abroad, is that Pakistan is a global headquarters of terrorism. And the fact is that terror emanating from Pakistan affects not just India, it affects the rest of the world as well. So big signaling coming from the Prime Minister's visit to the Bikaner Airbase tomorrow.
A reminder of that message, that Operation Sindoor is an ongoing one from the Prime Minister. With that visit, 9:30 tomorrow morning, Prime Minister Modi will be at the Bikaner Airbase, and we'll be getting you all of the live updates on that visit. Thanks very much, Gaurav. Thanks, Sandeep, for joining us here on Super 6. Let's get you all of the images coming in from across the country. We've been reporting about Karnataka, but also parts of Maharashtra, Goa, that have all been hit by an unprecedented heavy rainfall. Let's run you through some of those images. Unseasonal rains wreaking havoc across Goa. Roads completely flooded, drains were blocked, and water was seen entering several shops and buildings, all raising questions about Goa's monsoon preparedness, because these are pre-monsoon showers. In Maharashtra, Satara, heavy rains turned a highway into a river. This is, in fact, in the Bhoslewadi area of Satara district, where the highway is completely submerged. Travel make extremely dangerous for motorists. These are images from, in fact, the Indore-Bhopal highway. We see in Sehor of Madhya Pradesh, the entire road being closed off due to inundated areas. Rain crippled normal life in parts of Gujarat too, because this was of unseasonal rains that has damaged crops. And the state cabinet met today to discuss the situation on ground, with the Met Department predicting more heavy rains for Gujarat in the next few days. Uttarakhand's Bageshwar saw a heavy hailstorm, which has also again affected the local produce in the mountain area. But let's talk about Bengaluru, where in the last 48 hours, we've seen, of course, absolute civic apathy on display. 3 deaths were reported. People were struggling. So what's done there for the Karnataka Chief Minister? He finally visits after 48 hours of torrential downpour in Bengaluru once the streets have completely dried up. But add to that is, in fact, a red carpet that was being laid out for Chief Minister Siddaramaiah. This was a red carpet they were putting out because he was going to be inspecting some of the badly affected areas, which again, like I said, is bone dry. And then after outrage, the red carpet was removed for Chief Minister Siddaramaiah. This is right after 3 people died in the rains in Bengaluru. And so now the Chief Minister finally found the time for them after that 2-year anniversary celebration that happened yesterday, which they refused to cancel. Today, the Chief Minister, Deputy Chief Minister, also went and visited some of the worst affected areas. Let's get you all. Okay, the Karnataka Chief Minister has inspected the flood-affected areas, but also Chief Minister Siddaramaiah has spoken on the entire controversy surrounding this red carpet that was laid out for him, saying if it did happen, it was wrong, but also saying that this is the BJP's doing, that they rolled out the red carpet and blamed the Congress. So Karnataka Chief Minister Siddaramaiah essentially suggesting that all of this is nothing but politics, and has also claimed that the government has taken enough steps right after the rains, the heavy downpour in Bengaluru. The Chief Minister has also announced compensation for the families of the victims of the downpour. 3 deaths have been reported. Now, besides that, several steps the government has announced, including that there will be no basement construction allowed in low-lying areas. Encroachments on stormwater drainage systems will be mercilessly removed. We've heard that before. It's never actually happened. But as far as this entire red carpet being laid out for the Chief Minister is concerned, he's saying that no, there was no such red carpet. If it did happen, it was wrong. And he claims that it was done at the behest of the BJP. It's not just Bengaluru, but Goa, Pune have witnessed unseasonal rainfall. The incessant rains in Goa led to waterlogging, shops and houses being flooded after water entering many of these establishments. Flights to Goa and from Goa were also disrupted during the holiday season. The Met Department has predicted similar weather conditions and has urged citizens in vulnerable areas to take necessary precautions. Let's talk about Pune, which also witnessed unprecedented rainfall. The rains before the monsoon season have already exposed the crippling infrastructure of the civic bodies. Let's put out images from Pune. Now, while the showers brought much-needed relief from the scorching summer heat, they've also caused major disruptions, because look at that footage on your screens. Virtual river there on the streets of Pune, washing away vehicles and people as a result being stranded. Even the Pune airport was completely inundated. That's all we have time for in this edition of Super 6. As always, we're leaving you with our fact check of the day. Claims being made on social media which aren't really true. The latest one is pictures that are doing the rounds on social media with claims that weapons and huge amount of money was seized from cookies in Manipur. Is that really the case? Well, we analyzed these pictures doing the rounds and found that it's not even from Manipur. These videos, these pictures are from Myanmar. It shows weapons being seized from a revolutionary group. Your daily reminder, Don't believe everything you see on social media. We'll separate fact from fiction for you here on India Today. But that's all we have time for in this edition of Super 6. Thanks for tuning in.